Coming up in just a moment, we've got our very own lifestyle correspondent, Lisa Pearson, here in the studio. And this month, we're talking festivals. 6 o'clock, and here with me in the studio is our very own lifestyle correspondent, Lisa Pearson. Good afternoon, Lisa.
Hello, Danny.
Hi. So what are we talking about this month?
Well, I thought we'd do something slightly different and talk about festivals and camping for the really adventurous. Because, you know, I know that we're all a bit lacking in money and maybe a bit under the weather, and times have been a bit hard. And these are two things that you can do and get ever such a lot of value for money from it. And it's just really good for you. A lot of fun.
Right, okay. So for those who aren't familiar with this, then this afternoon we'll be able to give them something of a guide and a taste of what festival life is and how people, how they survive them, how they...
Exactly.
Well, survive them sounds like they're an endurance thing. They're not at all, are they?
Yeah, and I only started going to camping or to festivals a couple of years ago, mainly because I hadn't done it all the way through my 20s or 30s, and I thought, goodness, if I don't start now, then I'm never, ever, ever going to do it. And I'm planning, by starting now, that my kids will then take me to Glastonbury in, like
wheel you there?
15 years' time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm going to be like some aged grandma there. That was the plan. So I started when Willow is 18 months old. So I took Willow, Max is about 4 years older. Right. And that's when we went to our first family festival. And we started out really nice and easy. We glamped it. You know what glamping is?
Glamorous camping, isn't it? Yeah. That's like doing it all like very luxuriously.
Yeah, that's where it's all kind of provided for you. You kind of just rock up and unpack your little
proper
bag.
If you haven't got a shovel for when you need to go to the loo, then it's not proper camping, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, but some people really couldn't deal with that. So glamping is great. But then the next year, we realised that for the price of the glamping, we could actually camp. So we did our own camping. It was my first time camping, so that was last year. And in order to glamp it up, I took kind of bunting and fairy lights and,
Fairy lights? Where do they plug into exactly?
Solar fairy lights, Danny.
Solar fairy lights. That's not even easy to say.
And actually, as it's a festival, you do need a little bit of tongue-in-cheek. So obviously you need the bunting, you need the little kind of wind kitey thing that hangs from your tent so you can find it. And it just makes it a bit of fun.
Right.
You don't have to camp. You can just go for one-day festivals just as a starting point. Yeah. But it's really nice when you do add the camping because it kind of spreads it out. It means it's a bit more chilled.
Okay.
That's all.
Right.
So that's how I got into it. So my kids now say that going to a festival and going camping is like going on holiday for like 2 weeks.
Right.
That's what they think.
And this is and the festival would normally be a few days, wouldn't it?
Yes, anything from like 1 to 4 days.
Okay. But but to them it feels like a 2-week break.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's because you've got music and that's very good for the soul, of course.
But do the kids sort of tolerate sitting through a concert, or are there things that they can do whilst there's a concert on?
We go to very family-orientated ones. It's definitely family-orientated festivals. So, yes, there's always stuff on. One of them, there are a couple of festivals you go to which are only families.
Right.
So then there's kind of artsy, crafty, adventure-y, kind of circus stuff, all sorts of stuff to do during the day. Music often doesn't actually start until a bit later on. And then you're basically sitting on a picnic blanket, having a little drink of, fizzy water or something, whatever.
Yeah.
While the kids all dance. And
so you're there getting bladdered while the kids are having a whale over time?
Well, only lightly. You can't get bladdered when you have kids. It's kind of a bit, one of those things. You're getting lightly bladdered.
Right, okay.
Yeah. But what's amazing is, the music is really, really good. You might be concerned, but it's a lot better than Britain's Got Talent or anything that Simon Cowell can produce.
Well, I think it's a fair comment to say that if you've not experienced live music before, then you are missing something, because there is something. Even sometimes acts that aren't that good, when they're live, it's not just about the music. It's about more than that, and the way that they interact with the audience and the whole vibe and the experience. It is something that you've got to experience to really fully understand.
And that's what the kids react to. Right. So when we went to the Penn Festival last year, which is very 80s, a couple of bands came on that, frankly, they weren't my cup of tea at all in the 80s, but they were so good at the entertaining that the kids just reacted within a second. So we had a couple of bands, they were all right, kids had danced. The minute this one came on, they just went crazy. It was really funny. And then at one of the other festivals, I remember a band that maybe I wouldn't buy their CD.
Yeah.
But the kids they were very funny, actually, and the kids just thought it was brilliant. It was very rocky. Kids tend to like kind of quite loud, rocky music quite a lot of the time. And then there's somebody else who I've seen at several festivals who's just brilliant, very kind of acoustic-y kind of thing. But you can tell when someone's good when they can deal with the fact that the sound is gone, the power is gone, and they can still keep you all entertained. And that's how good these festivals can be. Okay,
great. Well, we're going to take a short break for some music now. In fact, a group that are no strangers to festivals, in fact to folk festivals in particular. This is Mumford & Sons with their new single, Babel. There we go, every last second of Mumford & Sons with Babel. It is 18 minutes now to 6 o'clock here on West Arts Drive Time. And this month for our lifestyle feature with our very own lifestyle correspondent, Lisa Pearson, we're talking festivals.
Exactly. So first off, I thought I'd talk about some of the concerns people might have, like the weather. Because the first year I went, it was brilliant weather and it was wonderful. But the second year, when I went to the Penn Festival last year, we were talking about tractors pulling the cars out. And my kids were covered in mud from the top of their heads to the bottom of their... just
But I guess the kids love that.
Absolutely. That was the thing, actually. Kids loved it. And I was okay as long as there was kind of like a staging area in the tent. Right. You were not allowed... There had to be like a non-muddy area in the tent and I was fine.
Yeah.
And most festivals have some kind of plan, like a farmer with a tractor. So they should actually be able to get you out, so it should be fine. Especially if you go small. So if you're concerned, go small, and they'll be able to get you out if you get stuck. That's the way to go. And take waterproofs, especially for the kids. Just waterproof from top to bottom, and they'll be so happy. They'll be fine.
Right. And big pair of wellies.
Wellies, yeah. What you're going to do is, from a girly perspective, they're probably worried about what they're going to wear, basically. So I recommend...
You can get wellies with a heel, I've seen.
No heels.
No? Not even a wellie?
Not even, no. I think it's crazy to wear heels because you're going to be up on your feet all day. No, you're going to want leggings.
Yeah, but they've got to look nice.
No, not that nice. That's ridiculous. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm a bit practical. Leggings or skinny jeans and wellies or flip-flops. That's the way to go.
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops or Crocs.
In the mud, you're never going to see both of them again, are you?
No,
you'll get one.
The weather changes.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So you can swap the flip-flops. They go all right with the leggings and the skinny jeans. Basically, that's the way to go. And be brave. A flower garland in the hair would look lovely on you, Danny.
Yeah, well, it's often been said, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so right, practical stuff then. So there's people listening now thinking, right, I'm going to take the family to a festival this year. Don't have a thing. What do I need to go out and get?
Wellies and flip-flops. And I would go local first. If you've got kids, go local and go for something that specifically says in the title family or is purely family. Right. That's the way to make it really, really easy. Don't worry about the quality of the music. I can pretty much guarantee you that that's going to be really good. Safety is going to worry about the kids. You can get these little bands. Most of them will actually give your kids these little bands that go around their wrists with their mobile number on them.
Okay.
You have to give them a really good talk. But, there's all sorts of things that you can do to keep your kids safe, basically. And your kids will need ear protectors if they're young. That's the other thing. You like our little headphones that we're wearing today. Right. You take those for young children.
Okay.
And the other top tip would be the loos are going to be all right. They're not going to be half as bad as you think.
Right, but take a trowel?
Take loo paper.
Oh, okay. Right.
Because people are going to worry about the loos. The loos are going to be, yes, they're going to run out, but it's not going to be that bad. Take loo paper, you'll be all right. Some places have showers. Nowadays, you actually have showers.
Okay.
But a bag of wet wipes will actually do you all right for a weekend. It'll be all right.
Right. Okay. Well, there's some top tips. We'll be back with Lisa Pearson, our very own lifestyle correspondent, to get some more top tips about this whole sort of. It's quite a thing, isn't it? People seem to be, the festival seems to be something of a phenomenon at the moment. There seems to be loads and loads of them, new ones starting up all the time, and lots of people going.
I think so. I think it's because it's fun and adventurous, and we need that at the moment.
Okay. Well, there you go then. Festivals. We'll be back talking more about festivals a little bit later in the show. Yes. Anyway, 6 minutes to 6 o'clock, and Lisa Pearson, our very own lifestyle correspondent, is here with us in the studio, and we're talking festivals this month.
That's right, yeah. So I thought, do you know what? We're really lucky. So I thought I'd mention a couple of the local ones, because you don't even have to go camping for them, so that would be a good way to start
You just
out.
go for the day, dip your toe in the pool and see what you think.
Yeah, and introduce, especially if you've got families, it's a good way to introduce the kids. So, of course, we've got the St Albans Folk Festival this weekend, which I'm not going to because I'm going away, but that sounds good. And then in a month, on the 21st of July, there's Folk by the Oak in Hatfield. Mm-hmm. And folk music, I think, does translate really well to a festival because it's quite acousticy. It goes really well with that kind of more natural vibe. And then we've got a new festival this year called Folkstock over in Aldenham Country Park, which would be a lovely place.
Okay.
Which on the 21st of September, which has got my favourite performer, John Paul Palumbo, going. So I know it's going to be just like wonderful. And then if you've got kids, do you know Celtic Harmony over in Hertford? It's like a Celtic camp.
Okay, no.
Well,
but
okay.
I take your word for it.
Well,
I don't think you'd make something like that up.
No, I wouldn't. No, they've got a Samhain festival in October. Beltane and Samhain are like different kind of festivals.
Right.
So those are really good if you're just going to go. And you can also, but if you're going to go camping, then you can do it quite simply because you can always buy your food there. Just take a few snacks and water. So you could just get yourself a tent, a sleeping bag and a bed.
Right.
Don't go for blow up. It's actually colder. Go for the kind of ones that puff up instead, if that makes any sense. When you go in the shop, you'll know what I mean.
Right, ask for a puff up bed, not a blow up bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like a mat.
Right.
They're like mats. Those are better. Those are warmer, actually.
Okay, yeah.
And then just remember to have extra pair of socks and a woolly hat and a jumper for when you go to sleep, and you'll be fine. If you're going with a family, actually, you can kit yourself out with like really good tent, plates, cups, blah, 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 everything you could possibly want, including either quite an expensive pop-up tent or a blow-up tent, which takes literally 4 minutes to go up. I've even got a little video of that.
Right. But tents don't take that long to put up. If you've read the instructions and perhaps you've had a practice at home in the garden first, they don't take 5 minutes
when
to
you've
put
got
up.
Children and it's raining, even 10 minutes is a very long
No,
time.
10
minutes.
minutes.
A very long
10
time
minutes.
with
If you have a
children.
break for a coffee in the middle,
No.
5 minutes for a tent.
No.
Don't know what sort of tent you're putting up.
Blow up tent. That's the way I go. Remember, I like to glamp it a bit.
Right.
Yeah, this is a good combination. Then it's still, you can get all of that and the camping and the festival for less than a holiday.
Okay. Well, I'd like to add that if you are looking at doing this and you've never done it before and you don't have any camping stuff, there are high street retailers that have catalogues and you can order stuff, and I can't mention Argus's name, but there are places out there and they do very cheap camping sets that you could get a tent with some sleeping bags, some carry mat or roll mats that you sleep on for about £20 or so.
Yeah, you can. Really cheap.
Yeah.
And if you're going with families, then I would recommend in particular Just So Festival, which is up in Staffordshire, which is very magical. It's very kind of artsy and bohemian. Or if you want something a bit more kind of I don't want to say middle class, but middle class, then Camp Festival is the place to go. It's going to have CBeebies presenters. It's going to have really pucker showers. It's going to be quite good. I've even heard of people going to Glastonbury, which has a specific family location, or some are called Wilderfest, which is meant to be really, really good as well. I've not been to that one.
All right. And should you look at the lineup before you book the festival, or should you just look at what the festival, like what it says it's trying to offer, and decide for yourself if that sounds nice?
I must admit, I often don't check the lineup. I've got two very contradictory tips. Plan ahead, because it's really important you get the most out of it. But at the same point in time, when you get there, go with the flow. Right. Because if you I get a bit OCD sometimes and a bit, and you won't enjoy it that way.
OCD, that's that compulsive obsessive disorder, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I said it that way around just to annoy you. But yeah, okay. Yes, I mean, I've heard it said, you see, that you shouldn't look at. In fact, some festivals will start selling tickets before they know what the lineup is.
Yeah, a lot of them do, and you have to kind of go with trust. But I've not heard of anyone say, "Oh, the music was pants."
Yeah,
I just haven't heard that. The music will be so much better than anything you're used to, because it's live, because it's people who are really passionate about it. So you don't have to worry about that bit, really. The difference is whether you want to go for one where you're going to be in a tent, which might actually not appeal to some people because it's so noisy, versus actually having stages where you're outside. I know that in a tent is good in the rain, but a stage, I don't know, it's just a bit freer, and I'd prefer that.
Okay, and Lisa also writes a blog, and if people want to know more about some of your thoughts and some of your lifestyle tips and things, where can they get all that information?
It's mummywhispererblog.com. And actually, there's a whole little menu called Adventure, and I've got a camping list, I've got what to wear, I've got festivals, loads of stuff on there.
All right, great. And we will link to that as well from our blog, from westhartsdrivetime.radioverulam.com, where all the information about what Lisa's talked about this afternoon will be there as well, along with the link to her own blog. Lisa, thanks very much. We'll see you around about the same time next month. But if you've come straight from a festival, don't bring mud in here, because we don't let it all over the carpet, all right?
Yeah,
I've told you before. Anyway, we'll see you again around about the same time next month.
Okay.
Bye.
On 92.6 FM and online at Radio Verulam.